is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to Vintage RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse hidden somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the founder and publisher of Unwinnable. Tonight, he's here to talk about how the West Marches are still marching on. Stu Horvath.
Except we go east. If you don't remember that, you got to go back to last year's episode where I explain how psychologically damaging it is to me to conceive of going from east to west, despite Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that. That's like a billion episodes back to me. But, today we are joined with Clay Fleischer and Justin Wigard, here to rock out again with us to tell us about their experiences in the West Marches campaign that's going east. How's it going, guys?
Doing great, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
It's wonderful.
The closest to DM player liaisons that we have.
Yeah.
Guys should get vests or something.
Oh, yeah. Definitely got to get a vest. Probably a good Argyle one. I think I'd look good in that.
Yeah. It fits the theme. I don't think
there's
it fits
a
the theme at all,
theme.
but no, there's no theme. So we've gone 2 years with this crazy thing, huh?
We have. I was re-listening to the year one retrospective, which
Look
is
at you doing homework.
It's kind of in my job. Normally I assign it, but I'd forgotten how awful it is to go back and listen to your own voice on recording, so I had to get over that. I had forgotten where we left things off, which were the settlement was facing down an iron golem down below the wells. There was a cataplepus. There's some manticores out in the world, and we've graduated. We've done some damage out in the east.
That damage has been done to y'all.
That is true.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. So,
Crunching some numbers, in the 2 years of the campaign, we've lost 14 characters.
Damn!
7 each year, exactly, which is kind of odd.
That's kind of great.
we've had a lot more players join though, in session, which has been, I think, really cool. It's taken us a little bit of time to try and get into a good rhythm. I think our maximum, Clay and I figured out, we capped out at 12 players in a session, and we've actually had quite a few 12-player sessions, which sounds like chaos, and occasionally it's very benign chaos. But I think we've gotten really good at sharing the spotlight and making sure that everyone gets to do stuff on their turn, and we make excessive use of the Roll20 chat as well, which I think helps a lot.
So before we really dive deep into the nitty-gritty of this, this is the second anniversary of Stu's West Marches campaign. For those who may be just joining us for the first time, why don't we tell them a little bit about Stu's West Marches campaign?
Look at you putting us on blast for not being welcoming to the new listeners.
I'm nothing if not professional.
So the West Marches campaign, it's really my version of a West Marches campaign. There's design concerns and stuff. You could look up what West Marches campaigns are. Basically, the way this one works is that we're moving from the westernmost part of a gigantic hex to the easternmost part. There's a settlement there. We have downtime rules to sort of grow the settlement, and everybody plays when they can. It's supposed to be on-demand DMing, but my schedule just has it really is just once a week. I can't do more than that. Much as though I wish I could, so that we could have different party groups. I think that the idea is that anytime there's more than 3 people who want to play and I'm free, we just play for an hour. And but what's really happened is that we have one session a week most of the time, and everybody plays that can get there, and it's we have 12 people, like Justin said, which is a crazy number, and I can't believe that the game functions, but it actually does work pretty good. OSE is light enough, but we play OSE, which is basically BX cleaned up, tidy. We explore the hexes, find mysteries. I like to think of it as a mystery crawl, that there are all these distinct little mysterious parts of the overland. And it is primarily an overland sort of exploratory adventure. There are dungeons, but they tend to be small, or they tend to be gigantic and directly under the town. Mostly it's checking out the wilderness and finding things there and seeing what happens. I think that's basically the nutshell.
All right, now back into it.
All right, so I think a big thing is that you mentioned the downtime, right? And so the downtime rules are very much based on the downtime in Cyan supplement.
Yes.
And when we last played, we didn't have those set up into place yet. And I think that like that's one of the biggest things for year two is in year one, it really felt like we were a bunch of refugees playing a really hardcore D&D up against the world and then some. And downtime feels like we have a lot more stake in the settlement, so we've been able to build institutions and like add things to our home base, like a scrollery, a tavern, Clay made at least one, right? What did you make?
Butchery.
Yeah, like a monster's butchery. We also I don't know, we've got a lot of I think like a lot of really great things, and so like that helps, but it also gives everyone time in between sessions to do something, whether it's scribing scrolls or doing conditioning, recruiting NPCs, and all of a sudden, like it makes the world feel like it's really bustling and alive, and I think a really cool way. But it also gives us a better impetus to be a little bit braver because we need more gold to make our settlements better and to obviously like get experience. But I think it's made us a bit riskier, and I think that's led to some cool moments too. So
Yeah, I can't believe that we didn't have the downtime system, because it has become so integral to like the downtime. It keeps the Discord buzzing. People are constantly like working on projects. Like there's a winery and it's generating money, and everybody's scribing scrolls and researching things in the world to try and figure out strategies and how to deal with them, which it almost never works out properly. Or you spent an awful lot of time making a magic item that is now gone because you lost it at the bottom of a well, or no, at the bottom of a lake.
well, yeah, I mean that got stolen, but that's a different thing. I think that the other thing is that in that first retrospective, you called it a mystery crawl, and at the time I was like, oh yeah, that kind of bites, and now it's like, oh yeah, this is a mystery crawl because it feels like every time we get a story beat, the world gets weirder and more dangerous and stranger, and I am confident that we have all lost track of at least 3 to 12 mysteries. Like,
Yeah, it's sort of you need a conspiracy board. My master plan is to really insert Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep scale conspiracy mystery into D&D, into a D&D hex crawl of all things, not even just like a city crawl. It's like just gotta cram all the weird stuff. One of the things that I wanted to do was keep it as random as possible. Now, granted, I made up a whole bunch of the tables, so like that's sort of like fixing it for the house, but there was no guarantee that these things would roll what I wanted them to roll, but they happened to sometimes. And it really is interesting how I just never really had faith in the random table thing, and it has just paid so many dividends in year two. Randomness begets chaotic improvisational cues that I don't know if it's this group or just D&D in general, or how those cues have been working in accordance to the system, but there's just so much stuff it's just crazy. I don't even know where to start with like the weird stuff that we've gotten into.
I mean, we could talk about Galen the Great.
Oh, well, that's that. Oh my God, that is. Oh God. So from the very beginning, I have this thing called burdens and whatever. What was burdens and obligations. So the idea was that everybody's like refugees moving east, getting to this settlement, and that means that they aren't just like adventurers without a care in the world. They have stuff that they're trying to take care of. So there's like this little system of creating NPCs that you have to like take care of. There's artifact things that need to be accounted for, and there's also sort of like things that the journey can have inflicted upon you, so that you get like negatives to your stats or your saves and such. But in this particular case, Matt had this. I don't even remember. Like he was just like some ding dong, right? named Galen.
Yeah, like a ward, I want to say.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
like a kid, and I think that his main thing was like he wanted a girlfriend or something. And so Matt had periodically been like trying to get like use the downtime system to sort of generate a girlfriend for Galen. And but at the same time, another character had a bit of a spiritual corruption or infection and was doing I invented a new secret downtime system called Mischief. And so they were doing stuff around the settlement to kind of disrupt things. And one of the things that they disrupted was this one guy's like, he started a whisper campaign about the one guy's pumpkins or whatever. And it happened to be that was the guy, the father of the girl NPC that Matt was trying to get Galen to date. So it became this whole thing where Galen was like getting the blame for it. He was going to like throw himself off a tower. So
All because he wanted to date some chick named Pumpkins?
So all of this is prelude to the really great thing, which is instead of just like letting him jump or whatever, like they actually really cared about Galen immediately. And they talked him down from the tower, and he got it in his head that if he performed some great deeds in the wilderness with, the exploring crew, he could win back his honor and undo the slander. So he's just like, I'm going to go adventuring with this group that regularly brings somebody back on their shield, So it was just like, I was like, oh man, so I was going to have this kid jump off a tower and make everybody feel bad. Now he's going to go out into the field with them, and I'm going to get to kill him, and everybody's going to feel really bad. And that actually didn't happen. Try though I might. And it was just zombies, but they really had it was a group of zombies that they came up against, and they were just really gonna like kill the zombies and like sort of subdue Galen. But then Galen decided to charge because I was in control of Galen and I wanted him to die. So he charges the zombies, and the zombies were actually working pretty tough, but like for some reason I couldn't hit Galen, and he killed like 2 or 3 of them. He leveled.
Yeah.
Like as a 0 level NPC, he leveled, and then I mean, he became the hero of the settlement. He's the mayor now.
Well, in behind the scenes, while he's fighting, I think multiple people like pushed him back out of the combat. I know I ran up and healed him once, so he didn't die. There was all this stuff behind the scenes that he didn't even know we were doing to keep him alive. So, which has an element of humor to it.
I mean, he sounds like one of those mayors that if he doesn't close the beach, you should definitely go into the woods.
But then Matt, in a stroke of genius, every adventure, every session has a recap. He wrote a damn ballad, the Ballad of Sir Galen, and it's just like it's a workable ballad. You could totally picture it being sung. Like it's just in terms of high points in my game mastering career, I think the running the game where the NPC becomes like this beloved hero and gets a ballad written about him is like a high point. Right after killing 3 characters with manticores in the first year.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, peaked there on the kill list. Although we did have some really gnarly deaths. So, yeah, in like the last year, I want to come back to. I have a thought about that too, but I want to come back. Just really quick, Desiree lost 2 characters. She lost one character, Phoebe Dunlow, who is this cleric, and then relatively soon after, also lost. She decided to play Meredith Dunlow, Phoebe's daughter, who was out for revenge, and that did not end well. And they were both wearing the same suit of like magic plate armor, and so now we all jokingly but not jokingly refer to it as cursed armor. And Matt also ended up losing like 2 characters back to back, including Zach's character MC Hammerhands, who didn't get any experience or gold points before dying.
Yeah, he just right out the gate got killed.
Aisha only had 2 sessions, and given
That's
that her first session she was level drained, technically she died with less experience than she started with.
It's so beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye. And then I got Aisha. Aisha was a knight with a horse, and I got the horse too in the swamp. So everybody was having never-ending story flashbacks.
You Atreyu'd them? My God, Stu, you sick bastard.
Artax, no.
That was when we took on the Catoblepus, which we mentioned in the last episode when we talked about it, which we finally took on and found that it also had a mate.
Yeah.
And we lost Aisha and two animals, but everybody else pulled through that one.
Somehow. Again, I feel like there's been a series of encounters that are just they go kind of haywire and somebody dies, but not everybody dies. And the fact that like somebody dies doesn't surprise me. The fact that like after that the casualties don't stack up in the way that I kind of expect them to. Like it just feels like as soon as one person's dead, it's like, oh man, everybody's gonna go down. And I start sweating and be like, oh man, they're not gonna play anymore. But so far, it was just that one Manticore session where you lost multiples.
Yeah, I think we were all sweating bullets in two different things. So the other thing I want to say, we got one over on you, and I'm gonna give Matt serious shout outs. Like we made a really detailed plan. We were gonna go down to the dungeon and deal with this iron golem. Like we could not proceed past the first floor of this dungeon until we dealt with this iron golem. We had like a detailed plan on how we were gonna do it, and Matt had, was it through Firemouth? This is like
Yeah, so there's this
deep West Marches lore.
there's this dragon thing that hangs out on like a stone, a pile of stones that sort of looks like a man, and if you give it enough money it might give you a boon. And boon is definitely in sarcasm quotes, because that's how I turned the mage, Larry's mage, into a werewolf the first
Twice.
time. Well, no, the second time was that
flower.
the other moon. There's a moon that's too close that will turn you into a werewolf if you stand there long enough. But yeah, so Matt did the thing, and he got this ability that was, you could either raise dead once or you could disintegrate once. And the bastard used it on my iron golem.
What?
And it failed the save.
Oh my God.
Didn't even get to attack. It was like such a big whiff. It's just, I've been so kind of angry about it. Not because just because it was like, so first of all, you got to understand. So this dungeon level is basically a big circle. And the idea is that this iron golem is there on perpetual guard duty, but there's a collapse and it blocks its path, and then it's a big dumb metal thing. So it just stands there for a century or two until Larry antagonized it. The fact that it was walking around down there being a problem was a player created problem. So the fact that it took like over a year for them to really try and deal with it, and then I didn't even get to punch him, was really unfair.
Okay, but you say that though, and this is the thing I want to get back to. We almost had a TP case that I think it's the actual closest we've ever come. I think at the Manticore, like Larry was probably always going to get away from that, but the closest we actually came, we just were traveling along these aqueducts, like kind of in the center of the hexes, sort of, and we stumbled across a harpy's nest, and the harpies hypnotized like 90% of our party, and by that we mean like we were just like, all right, well, we failed a save and we cannot control our characters anymore.
And it wasn't like there were 6 people. There was like 12 people that night. So it was like 9 people were potentially going to get wiped out of the game.
And we all spent luck points to try to correct our saves, and then rolled terribly the second time around. So,
but again, the Marches sort of comes to your rescue. We have this other character, this NPC, who, and it's one of the mysteries. Like, he has a story and everything. They rescued him. He was in a pit with a stone over it, and they dug him out of there. And he's this weird French guy, or not French. His name is Ferenci. He's Eastern European, but he's a bard. And whenever they are out in the field, Ferenci follows them, and they don't know why. I don't think anybody's ever asked him, but he's always there. And the idea is sort of like, once you unlock Ferenci, he's there in case like one character dies and they have like an immediate fill-in character that they can play, among other things. But this time we had like 9 people go down. But it just so happened that Ferenci's a bard and he had like the natural abilities to counter the harpies and pull everyone's fat from the fire. And like that is just, and that happens over and over and over again in the marches. It seems like the marches serve up like exactly the encounter that you is like for the party, and it makes it go really hard against the party, and then eventually somebody realizes, oh, we actually already have the perfect tailor-made, randomly begotten solution to this mess, and boom, you do it, and we all go to bed relatively happy. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really nice actually, and I think a big part of it is that, and this kind of again goes a little bit against the grain of the standard West Marches ethos, which is that that entire game type is sort of based around FOMO, right? Like
Yeah.
you want to try and like you have to share player knowledge, but you also want to be the first ones to get to the treasure, to the adventure, right? And instead we've created like a very collaborative, unified, and I think generally helpful, and also like we're all pals, right? Because it's a really great extension of the vintage RPG Discord. But I think it just helps because everyone is invested, and so we're always kind of trying to think about like, okay, how can we, you know, save each other? And like sometimes we just put our own characters in the way of danger to try and get somebody out, right? And it's a really nice thing. Or sometimes you have somebody new join, like James, who's playing a giant mushroom person, mycelium, who just slugs things for 4d4 and is also just like a walking, smiling death monster.
He's
in the best way.
like one of those characters from like I can't remember what the series is, but they're all shapes. It's like Mr. Whatever, and it's like he's just one of them. He's got like an umbrella, and he's mutated now. He's got antlers, like a big rack of moose antlers. Yeah, and like so I can't remember who said it recently, but somebody, like everybody was talking downtime stuff, and somebody was sort of like, I just love how we've turned this settlement into like like a socialist utopia where everybody like really cares about each other and wants to make life better for everyone else.
Well, one of the great things about downtimes is how there is a system by which you might need assistance with things, and so everybody's keeping track of who's using their time to assist that week with the other person to see what they need to do.
Which was by design. I didn't want to foster a sort of like a super competitive West Marches. I didn't think that would be fun in the long run. And I wanted, because like, as I said, it's a mystery call. It's about finding things out. Didn't want this to be like a regular kind of explore, kill, loot loop of gameplay. I wanted to just see where we could like introduce things to tweak that gameplay loop so that it was different. And by having you have a settlement and having those burdens and then introducing the downtime system, I'd hoped that this would create a real sense of community for the players, and it worked. So that's really gratifying to see. I didn't know if it would work. I thought it might get exploited because like everybody's always trying to find a way to exploit things in D&D.
But this is to me at least, sounds like the antithesis of a murder hobo experience.
I mean, that solution is definitely there and contemplated often, but I don't think that there has ever really been an instance where it has been embraced wholeheartedly. They would really, really like to murder hobo the heck out of the manticores, but they haven't yet. And I don't know if that's just like for fear or because they just feel like they could find a better way. But yeah, murder hoboing and like even like Larry finally has Fireball, so like you'd think that would come out more liberally than it does, but it doesn't. And he's always willing to try and talk to a monster, which is great.
Well, what was it? You lost 14 so far?
14 total.
14.
Yeah.
Even with Fireball, dude, I'd be thinking twice. Like I can't imagine Fireball in West Marches is going to be nearly as impactful as it would be in, say, like Trad D&D or in 5e, because sure, you got Fireball, but the rest of your dudes aren't exactly tanks like they are in modern D&D, where it's like, well, everyone it's really hard to kill a player in 5e. Like you got to work much harder. So that sounds awesome to me, man. I mean, this year after year, this West Marches campaign sounds pretty good. So, Clay, one thing that I have heard about is that you were actually keeping stats and keeping tabs on the campaign, as it were. What's that like? What do you got to tell us about that?
Well, Justin has done such a great job of keeping track of our experience, and one of the things Stu initiated for this is some rubber banding, as we call it, to make sure that people who aren't there still get some XP and some gold, so that, you know, if you haven't been able to play for 6 weeks, you're not coming in 2 levels behind the people who have been. So that's helped, and so that's helped us keep a lot of stats. So we have had a total of 56 characters. Most common classes: cleric at 7, fighter at 6, thief at 5, and ranger at 4. And we currently have no active rangers because Stu hates rangers and will do anything he can to destroy them. So
I speak from experience. Yes, go on.
I was going to say you can't prove that, but now Tampo's a character witness.
Yeah, now that we're talking behind the scenes across your campaigns, the truth can come out. But the funny thing to me right now about clerics is we haven't had one adventure with us for 12 sessions now.
Oh my God.
Even though there's more of them than any other. The funny thing about fighters is we've never had 2 fighters at the same session.
It explains a lot. Like I know all of this like because I've experienced it, but like being presented with the stats clears up some mysteries from my side of the screen.
Yeah. 2 years in, we finally have 2 characters who are level 6. So Zach Burr has a thief, Giles, who's one of the OGs, one of the 2 original characters who's level 6, and then my druid Bedford just finally hit level 6. And so if you end up joining us, you'll start with, as of today, mid-May, you'll start in with about 10,000 experience total, enough to kind of start with like a level 4 in most classes, which is pretty exciting, and like a fat stack of gold too.
It's almost worth it to die and get a new character just for the gold infusion.
Well, I mean, my thought is like coming into level 4, is that like a little safer to start the game at level 4? Because as it stands right now, I actually did the math. 56 characters, 14 down. You've taken out 25% of all the characters that have played in this West Marches campaign, like so far. So I wonder if like coming in at 4, you're not on the back foot from the time you leave the camp.
I don't think it works that way. Like I said, in the battle with Galen, like it was a relatively large group with experienced characters trying to keep one inexperienced, like 3 hit point character alive. And because of that, I felt like I had a pretty good chance of having zombies kill one of the main players. There's always tactical constraints that like we had that one battle with the hallucinogenic mushrooms, and you all were like penned in a narrow corridor, so you were getting attacked from the north, and it was like an ochre jelly or something. Got it, heard the sound. It was just like wave after wave after wave of stuff, and it like there's ways that the game just sort of mitigates the power that comes with levels, even with 14 characters on the field. Doesn't matter. Like if there's just a medium group of monsters, it's always going to be challenging between them and the environment, and bad rolls. Roll20 hates these guys.
Roll20 hates Clay specifically.
Yeah.
Like it's lower.
Very much.
Holy shit.
So there's 2 quick things I want to say, and then the first is that in year 1, on average, we had like a normal party size, which was 6, but like in year 2, we're averaging 9 characters a session. And I think like that helps speak to the survivability, except for and you mentioned like long timers. Like there's a few people who have played in most sessions. Clay has played in every single one, so I've missed a few even. Who has been in the most? It's you, and then who goes after?
After that, it's Larry.
Larry,
He's of course got one of the original characters, his first character. He's been there for 60 sessions.
Yeah. But I mentioned this because there was one session in the last year that only had 3 players that lives on in infamy. And it's one of the ones I wasn't there for, but like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now because it like cast a pall over the entire settlement. Clay.
This was our Labor Day session that ran during the day, which was an odd thing, but because I think Stu said, "Hey, who wants to join?" And there were a few of us available, and so we hopped on and went exploring, which is probably a bad idea. And came across a tent, and someone tried to shoot a crossbow bolt at us from inside the tent. But
Actually, I hit Andy's character.
That's right.
Did a little bit of damage, which is key.
And
that's important.
We start talking to this woman in a tent who just seemed scared and in the back of my mind, I thought, this is not going to go well. This is not just a poor woman in the settlement. I've been playing this game for 4 decades. It's never just a person, is it? But it didn't seem that bad. And then all of a sudden, I find out that Stu had made a roll for me that I didn't know about for a saving throw, and I was charmed by what was Lamea, and I will probably say it incorrectly and inconsistently throughout the rest of the segment. But the Lamea had already, in the guise of trying to tend to Andy's character's wounds, drained his wisdom.
Oh no!
Such that he was her thrall, and my character was charmed, but he was charmed just that he had agreed to protect her. Phoebe, the remaining character who was not charmed, figured out what was going on with her and had cast blindness on her and on Andy's character. So we were at this stalemate where if she attacks the Lamia, my character will attack her, but neither of those two can attack her because they're blinded.
Yeah, so in OSE, blindness as a status effect means specifically that you cannot attack. So that they are just, you could move around, you just can't attack.
So it was a very strange standoff, but what Phoebe realizes is she can just loot the place and nothing's going on. So, she's just rummaging around finding things. There's a blind Lamea and her blind thrall that can't do anything, and my character who's charmed and not doing anything. And so then she just like runs off with a +3 set of plate mail and some other stuff. And at present, those 2 characters are still missing. So
she's left. So she had a whole bunch of mirrors in the tent, and she keeps leaving mirrors in the wilderness with taunting messages on the back of them, and they keep coming across them as they explore further.
And Desiree, who played Phoebe, and then Meredith, hates the Lamia so much, and it's very good. And so now we have at least like a face to an antagonist, like the closest thing I think that there is to like an actual antagonist so far, other than like a bunch of other things. But like the Lamia session sort of lives on in infamy and is kind of like you could have 3 people, but there's a good chance that you're gonna lose them.
Yeah, 3 people go out, 1 comes back. That's terrible odds.
And apparently, back with that plate armor that ended up, you guys call it cursed now.
Yeah.
And now that I hear the story, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah, they call it. Y'all call it like the armor of the Lady of the Mountains or something.
Mistress of the Mountains.
Mistress of the Mountains. It was one of those things where like the roles were just really kind to me. Like I was just like, when they came upon this, I was just like, there's no way that this is going to come off. And then Andy kind of fell for the healing act perfectly. And he also had a low wisdom. So it all worked out really well so that I was able to get Brent. I probably could have done the secret savings throw roll better. You had a luck point, which probably I should have adjudicated differently. But I was too nervous, and we just went with it. And it made for a good story. So
it's too fun. It's just a great story. I like to think they're living their best life out there and starting a new life together.
Weird ass throuple.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but I should add that those were our, strongest and most heavily armored fighting types, a fighter and a ranger, each with a powerful magic sword and magic armor. So
Yeah,
it was kind of painful.
what was your magic sword?
I have what I like to call Helsinor's Shame, which is the one from the disgraced human king that was in the tree. It is a +3 defender.
Ah, yeah. And then Brent was carrying the Revenger.
Yep, the two-handed one at that.
Yeah. Which was a beefy weapon. That he got that off of the troll, right?
Yes. I feel like the West Marches makes for a strange economy of magic weapons because we try to be very practical but also equitable and pass them around, and then someone's got this great magic weapon and then doesn't come to the game for you know 6 months. You're like, hey, we might not have died if that would have been here. So.
Yeah. And then characters like wind up like going away with their Chris's dwarf fell down the pit in the bathhouse with he was a dwarf with a dwarven thrower, and he came back, but the hammer didn't. You guys lost your swords. Justin, you lost everything on your person when you pulled you escaped with the potion of gaseous form, but we realized that all of your stuff sank to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, that's another one of those that's the last thing. This is the last thing I'll say is that's another one of those the marshes sort of provide and take away all in one. Where I'd had this potion of gaseous form for probably a year and a half.
Yeah,
I got dragged into this weird frozen lake by a giant octopus type thing, and in order to escape, I had to use this potion of gaseous form, and literally everything I'd ever owned sank to the bottom of the lake, including a fairy fire lantern and another magic item that escapes me.
The decanter of endless water.
The decanter of endless water that's in the stupid lake. And so when I went and swam back down there, they're gone now, taken by ostensibly a Grell, because this game rules and nothing makes sense. So.
Hell yeah, brother. That's
there are definitely
awesome.
marauding Grell, popping up in weird places.
If that's not a sales pitch for the West Marches campaign, I don't know what is. Y'all, any final thoughts about West Marches before we go home on this episode?
It's just too much fun. Justin and I spending a lot of time outside of game trying to organize things, and I mean, it's so much fun. It just brings that kind of commitment out where you're just like, I just want to be doing stuff for this game all the time.
Yeah, it's true. And I want to really shout out the community because they make it so much fun. It's great. Many thanks to Stu for putting it on and dealing with all of our shenanigans, including when Clay and I ping him 4 times, either asking for a rules clarification or, are you free Tuesday? Hey, are you free Tuesday? But I also want to say, join us, truly. We've got a really decent onboarding setup. We try and make things really easy and friendly to jump in, but seriously, come out and play, even just for a game or two. It's a blast. I truly think so. It's a highlight of my week.
That's nice to hear because it's a highlight of my week too. I don't think I've ever had so much. I don't want to say fun because anything that I'm running is fun, but I don't think that a game has ever consistently surprised me the way that this one does, which is weird considering I'm running it and I've made all these tables, but it just every session is just, I never know what's going to happen. And only part of that is down to the players. A lot of it's just I rolled it and they'll hear me go, okay, all right, I need to read for a minute. Just give me a second. Okay, guys, I just got to figure out what this means. And that's fun. I think that's where a lot of the most exciting stuff in the game comes from, is just oh, there's a 10% chance this giant monster is going to be in the hole waiting for you. Oh, well, crap. Rolled a 9. There it is. Gotta deal with the ramifications of that. And then we do. And then the druid calls lightning, and it's a big thing.
And if you join the Discord, you can read all about it.
It's true.
Well, very cool. Clay, Justin, as always, it's nice to see your faces outside of the Discord. Thank you for joining us tonight to talk about West Marches Season 2, or Year 2, however you want to describe it. It's the second time around, and it's still going strong. This has been another amazing episode of the Vintage RPG Podcast. Stu, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me on vintagerpg.com. Daily posts during the week. The podcast is there. Links to the Discord and the Patreon. I'm going to make sure that there are new spots open for the West Marches game if you would like to join. It's $10 a month, so if you're flexible, you should be able to get 4 sessions in as long as I'm not busy as heck. And it's a fun time, so you should join.
Very cool. You can find me at hamandeggpublishing.com. You can find links there to all the books I write and produce and co-write. You could also find links to the Discord for Ham and Egg Publishing, which we talk about stuff on. One of the things I definitely want to just shout out this week is Marie Enger's Death to the Wizard Kings. It's in pre-order right now. It'll be available everywhere in a couple weeks. This is one of the most amazing RPG supplements I've ever seen. Basically, it's part comic, part self-directed TTRPG, and it's all about what's next for you when you go through this book. The art is amazing. You are essentially building a character throughout this book and learning more about the story, what's going on in this world, and you are making essentially a Vat Spawn while you're doing it. The art's amazing. The presentation's amazing. There'll be a link in the notes for the show, but Marie Enger's Death to the Wizard Kings. Look it up. You will not regret it. If you like the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Your reviews really do help other listeners to find us. And if you really like the show, why not become a patron? Patreon.com/vintagerepg. We got a behind-the-scenes look at the stuff that Stu's working on, a little bit about what I'm working on. For as little as $1 a month, you get the episodes early, sometimes usually on a Friday or a Saturday, depending on when we record them. We have a killer Discord community that we'd love for you to be a part of. It's a beautiful little oasis from the rest of the world. At the $5 tier, you can get in on my monthly game. I play a different game every month. At the $10 tier, you can get in at my game and what this entire episode's been about, the West Marches campaign with Stu. Patreon.com/vintagerepg. So for Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor. Thanks for listening. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Schaefer Brown. Edited by R. Alex Murray. Check us out at vintagerepg.com.